Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Hare Krishna. It's August 25th, 2020. This is Sri Radhastami. It's an auspicious day for devotees of Krishna, devotees of Radha Krishna. It's the anniversary of the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. It's like Krishna's appearance day is Janmastami, the 8th day of the moon. So like 2 weeks later, it's Radhastami, the 8th day of the waxing moon. Okay, about 2 weeks later. And so I'm here with Payal and Lakshmi Priya and Ramachandra and Parampara Das, and I think Bhaktin Briel's about to come on. Here online, we've got Ladini Shakti, they're in Czech Republic, Drew Kara and Prema Leela, Rukmini, Bhakta George, Bhakta Eze, and Narayan Prabhu, and Mother Malini, and Damayanti Devi Dasi. Okay, so there are many ways to celebrate the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. This morning we read an excerpt from a lecture that Prabhupada gave on Radhastami in Montreal in 1968. In that excerpt, Prabhupada, he sings, it's a beautiful recording, if anyone wants to check the recording, he sings the Radhe Jaya 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 Madhava Dayate song from Rupa Goswami. And sometimes on Radhastami we read.
Did you say that again? What was
the song?
The recording, the date?
Oh yeah, okay, yes. So it's Montreal, Radhastami, and August 30, 1968. And it's, of course, a wonderful transcendental lecture from Srila Prabhupada. And towards the end of the lecture, he sings the song. He just kind of spontaneously goes into bhajan. And he sings the song, Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Dayate. Hare Krishna Bhakta Ki, welcome. And so sometimes our Radhastami will read sections of Krishna book, like the chapter of Uddhava visits the gopis, and that chapter includes Uddhava witnessing Srimati Radharani speaking to the bumblebee, and highly recommended. Today's a special day to hear and chant about Srimati Radharani. Radharani Ki Jai, Maharani Ki Jai, as Narayan just led us in Kirtan. And so Radha means worshipable, Rani means queen. So she's the greatest worshipper, servant of Krishna, and she is the most worshipable because she's the topmost devotee of Krishna. And there's so many descriptions in different places about the pastimes of Radha Krishna, about the qualities of Srimati Radharani. So I thought today we could read some excerpt of Prabhupada's lecture on Radhastami, Srimati Radharani's appearance day, September 18th, 1969 in London. And also I have some excerpts from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Leela, chapters 8 and 23. Chapter 8, Ramananda Roy is in the role of teacher, and he's instructing, in that circumstance, his student, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and their discussions go to amazing nectarian places, including Ramananda Roy describing the qualities of Srimati Radharani. Then in chapter 3 of the Madhya Leela of Chaitanya Charitamrita, we have Lord Chaitanya in his instructions to Sanatana Goswami, he describes the 25 qualities of Radharani. So those are some of what we might get to this morning, discussion. For some of you, it's afternoon, I know. Om Gyanatami Randasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshur Unmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Mano Bhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Svayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Uttapadakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Saganaragnatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitan Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagna Lalita Shri Vishakan Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopisha Gopika Kanta Radhakanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshware Vishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpati Vyascha Kripa Sindhubhye Vacha Patitanan Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine. Hare Krishna. Okay, so this is, I'll read some excerpts of a lecture Prabhupada gave September 18th, 1969 in London on the appearance day of Srimati Radharani. Okay, and so, so Prabhupada says, Radharani, today is Radharani's appearance day, so we should try to understand Radharani's feature. Radharani is the pleasure potency, Ladini Shakti, Anandamayo Vyasat. In the Vedanta Sutra, the absolute truth is described as Anandamaya, always in pleasure potency. That Anandamaya potency, just like Ananda, when you want Ananda, pleasure, you cannot have it alone. Alone you cannot enjoy. When you are in the circles of friend or family or other associates, you feel pleasure. Just like I am speaking, the speaking is very pleasing when there are many persons here. I cannot speak alone here. That is not Ananda. I can speak here at night, dead of night, nobody here. That is not Ananda. Ananda means there must be others. So because Krishna, the absolute truth, is Anandamaya, therefore Eko Bahusham, he has become many. We are also Krishna's part and parcel to give pleasure to Krishna, and the chief pleasure potency is Radharani. And I'll go on, then Prabhupada continues. So we have described about the Radha Krishna loving affairs in our teachings of Lord Chaitanya in page 264. If you have got this book, you can read it. How the reciprocation of loving affairs of Radha Krishna is there, transcendental. So our today prayer to Radharani, we pray to Radharani because she is the pleasure potency of Krishna. Krishna means all attractive, but Radharani is so great that she attracts Krishna. Krishna is all attractive, and she is attractor of Krishna. So what is the position of Srimati Radharani? We should try to understand this day and offer our obeisances to Radharani. Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. Our business is Radharani, you are so dear to Krishna. So we offer our respectful obeisances unto you. Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. We hear Prabhupada's absorbed in that verse about Radharani. Radharani is Hari Priya, very dear to Krishna. So if we approach Krishna through Radharani, through the mercy of Radharani, then it becomes very easy. If Radharani recommends that this devotee is very nice, then Krishna immediately accepts, however fool I may be. Because it is recommended by Radharani, Krishna accepts. Therefore, in Vrindavan, you'll find all the devotees, they're chanting more Radharani's name than Krishna's. Wherever you go, you'll find the devotees are addressing Jai Radhe. You'll find still in Vrindavan, they are glorifying Radharani. They're more interested worshiping Radharani, because however fallen I may be, if some way or other I can please Radharani, then it is very easy for me to understand Krishna. Otherwise, Manushyanam sahasreshu kaschit yatati siddhaye yatatam api siddhanam kaschit vettimam tatvata. If you go by the speculative process to understand Krishna, it will take many, many lives. But if you take devotional service, just try to please Radharani, and Krishna will be gotten very easily. Because Radharani can deliver Krishna. She is so great devotee, the emblem of Mahabhagavat. Even Krishna cannot understand what is Radharani's quality. Even Krishna, although he says, Vedaham Samatitani, I know everything, still, he fails to understand Radharani. Radharani is so great. He says that actually Krishna knows everything. In order to understand Radharani, Krishna accepted the position of Radharani. Krishna wanted to understand the potency of Radharani. Krishna thought that I am full, I am complete in every respect, but still I want to understand Radharani. Why? This propensity made Krishna obliged to accept the propensities of Radharani, to understand Krishna himself. These are, of course, very transcendental great science. One who is advanced in Krishna consciousness and well conversant with the Shastras, they can understand. But still, we can discuss from the Shastra. When Krishna wanted to understand himself, he took the tendency of Srimati Radharani. And that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Baba Duty Suvalitam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but he has accepted the propensities of Radharani. As Radharani is always in feelings of separation from Krishna, similarly in the position of Radharani, Lord Chaitanya was feeling separation of Krishna. That is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, feelings of separation, not meeting. The process of devotional service taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his disciplic succession is how to feel separation from Krishna. That is Radharani's position, always feeling the separation. The Goswamis, they also, when they were in Vrindavan, they never said that, I have seen Krishna. Although they were the most perfect, they never said that, I have seen Krishna. Their prayers were like this, Hey Radhe Vraja Devike Chalalite Hainanda Sunokuta. Hey Radhe, Radharani, Hey Radhe Vraja Devike Cha. Radharani does not remain alone. She remains always with her friends, Vraja Devi, Lalita, Vishaka, and other damsels of Vrindavan. So the Goswamis are praying in their mature stage. When they were living at Vrindavan, they were praying in this way, Hey Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chalalite, Hey Nanda Sunokuta. Where is Radharani? Where are you? Where are your associates? Where are you? Nanda Suno, the son of Nanda Maharaj, Krishna. Where are you? Where are you all? They were searching after. They never said, I have seen Krishna dancing with the gopis. Last night I saw. Then there's laughter there. This is sahajya. This is not mature devotee. This is called, they are called sahajya. They take everything very cheap. Krishna very cheap, Radharani very cheap, as if they can see every night. No, the Goswamis do not teach us like that. They're searching after, Hey Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chalalite, Hey Nanda Sunokuta, Shri Govardhana Padapatale Kalindi Vanye Kuta. Are you there under the Govardhan hill or on the banks of the Yamuna? Kalindi Vanye Kuta. Gosanta Viti Sarvato Vrajapure Kede Mahavivala. Their business was crying like this. Where are you? Where are you, Radharani? Where are you, Lalita? Vishaka, the associates of Radharani. Where you are, Krishna, are you near Govardhan Hill or on the bank of the Yamuna? Gosanta Viti Sarvato Rajapure. So throughout the whole tract of Vrindavan, they were crying and searching after them. Kede Mahavivala, as if madmen. Kede Mahavivala, Vande Rupa Sanatana Raghu Yugal, Sri Jiva Gopalaka. So we have to follow the footprints of the Goswamis, how to search out Krishna and Radharani, Vrindavan, or within your heart. That is the process of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's bhajan, feeling of separation, vipralamba seva. Just like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu feeling the separation of Krishna, he was falling down on the sea. He was coming out of his room or his bedroom and going out at dead of night. Nobody knew where he has gone. So that was his searching. This process of devotional service is taught by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, not that very easily. We have seen Krishna or seen Radharani and Rasalila. No, not like that. Feel the separation. The more you feel separation from Krishna, you should understand that you are advancing. Don't try to see Krishna artificially. Be advanced in separation feeling, and then it will be perfect. That is the teachings of Lord Chaitanya. Because with our material eyes, we cannot see Krishna. Ata Shri Krishna Namadi Nabhaved Grayam Indriya. With our material senses, we cannot see Krishna. We cannot hear about Krishna's name. But Sevan Muke Hi Jivadao. When you engage yourself in the service of the Lord, where the service begins, Jivadao. The service begins from the tongue. Sevan Mukhe Jivadao. If you begin service through your tongue, how? Chant Hare Krishna. Use your tongue. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And take Krishna Prasadam. The tongue has got two business, to articulate sound, Hare Krishna, and take Prasadam. By this process, you'll realize Krishna. Devotees say, Haribo. Prabhupada continues, don't try to see Krishna. You cannot see Krishna with your material eyes. Neither you can hear about him with your material ears. Neither you can touch, but if you engage your tongue in the service of the Lord, then he'll reveal himself to you. Here I am, that is wanted. So feel separation of Krishna, just like Radharani, as Lord Chaitanya teaches us. And engage your tongue in the service of the Lord. Then one day, when you are mature, you'll see Krishna eye to eye. Thank you very much. And the devotees say, Hari Bol, all glories to divine grace. Hare Krishna. So we can say that all of our problems individually and problems in the world are because we are trying to imitate Radha Krishna. We can reduce it to that. You mean my health difficulties, my anxiety, my depression, my envy? Yeah, we can reduce it all. Every issue we've ever encountered in a seminar participant, or in a coaching client, or in myself, it's because we're trying to imitate Radha Krishna. We can really reduce it to that. We might not put it in those terms all the time, like whatever someone comes out with. Oh, I see, you're trying to imitate Radha Krishna. You get it. And that is what it comes down to. That is what it comes down to. That instead of joyfully embracing Jivara Supoi Krishna Nichadas Krishna Tatasta Shakti Veda Prakash, instead of embracing our position as servants of Radha Krishna, we want to imitate their enjoyment, and then we get a material body. And which the material body itself, it is an anartha, anarthopasamam. Anartha means an unwanted thing. Okay, and of course it's subject to things we don't want: death, disease, old age, and so many things like that. But the material body itself, it's this unwanted clump of matter that the soul has magnetized due to wanting to imitate Radha Krishna. So, Prabhupada references Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's described: Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Radha Krishna Nahi Anya. Sri Krishna Chaitanya is a person who is a combination of Radha and Krishna. He's Radha and Krishna combined in one incarnation. Incarnation isn't exactly the correct term, because it's not like he's an incarnation of Radharani or Krishna. Lord Chaitanya is Radharani and Krishna combined. And so it gets a bit esoteric, but this is certainly part of understanding Radharani. That so as Prabhupada describes here, so Krishna is full and complete. He's Purusham, he's Purnam Purusham, the complete person. And at the same time, so at the same time, so Krishna is experiencing unlimited transcendental bliss. And he saw that in serving him, Srimati Radharani is experiencing more bliss than him. So he said, look, I want a taste of that. So he appears as Lord Chaitanya. So Krishna is full of love. He's full of love for Srimati Radharani, but he sees that Radharani's love is even greater than his. So he wants a taste of that. So he gets a taste of that by appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And also, Krishna is trying to understand what is it about him, Krishna, that's so attractive to Radharani. So he gets a taste of that, again, by appearing as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And so Prabhupada's cautioning here, not to, because even in the name of serving Radha Krishna, there can be this enjoying spirit. Let's hear about Radha Krishna in the name of I'm devotional to Radha Krishna. There can be this enjoying spirit. And so Prabhupada's cautioning about that from wherever we're at, we want to hear about Srimati Radharani, the pastimes of Radha Krishna, guided by the pure devotees. And this is it's a very key point. That's why we often say, like, okay, what is the mood of Radharani? And then there's the sahajiyas, those who want to enjoy in the name of being devotees of Radharani. It's called sahajiya, faking. But we say, okay, the mood of the gopis, the mood of Radharani. This is Prabhupada at the age of 70, getting on the Jaladuta and coming to the West to do what? To do what Radharani is committed to do. What's she committed to do? She's committed to bring souls back to Krishna, to bring souls to dance with Krishna. So that's what Prabhupada did. Give up any tinge of material enjoyment, coming to the West to bring souls to their original love of Krishna, their original bliss. That's the mood of the gopis. That's the mood of Radharani. Prabhupada rising at 1 a.m. and dictating his purports to give us these transcendental books, to return us to ourselves, to return us to love of God, our original position. And so because otherwise, we without that mood, without being guided by the pure devotee, even if we still have enjoying spirit, we can hear about Srimati Radharani on Radhastami. We can hear about Srimati Radharani from the pure devotee, and we're protected and we'll get purified. Otherwise, we'll take our ordinary mundane conceptions of soap opera of romance, a boy, girl, man, woman, and we'll apply it to these transcendental pictures. And okay, it's like Prabhupada's giving a lot of proof that these are transcendental pastimes. He's citing, well, there's of course himself, like Prabhupada has no interest in any romantic drama, no interest in soap opera, and he's completely devoting his life to this young girl, Srimati Radharani. So it means like, well, she's not an ordinary young girl. Prabhupada's quoting Jiva Goswami. He's quoting the 6 Goswamis again and again. This is very important. So the 6 Goswamis, they've completely renounced any sense of material enjoyment. We can say the picture of the Goswamis. That's their entire wardrobe. That's their entire wardrobe. They don't even have a pair of shoes. And they've got loincloths. And they all came from very wealthy aristocratic background. Tvarnam Ashesha Mandalapati Shrenim Sadatu Chavan Utvadina Ganesha Kalkavunaya Kopina Kantashrita Gopi Bhavarasamrita Dilahari Kalola Magnamor Vandero Pasanatana Raguyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka. It's described that Sanatan Goswami, Rupa Goswami, Gopal Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Bhatt Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and Srila Jiva Goswami. They gave up the life of aristocracy and wealth and fame and fortune. They renounced it all, and they were only wearing kopins. Kopins is like the loincloth described with Adam and Eve. They were only wearing kopins, and they were completely absorbed in the ocean of transcendental bliss of the gopis and the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. It means like they had no interest in sex life, in money, they had no interest, and they were completely absorbed in these pastimes. Sankhya Purvaka Namagana Natibi Kalava Sanikrita Nidrahara Viharakadi Vijital Chatyanta Dina Chaya Radha Krishna Gunasmiter Madhuriman Andena Samohita Vande Rupa Sanatana Raguyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka Vande Rupa Sanatana Raguyuga Sri Jiva Gopalaka. The 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan, they were staunch in their sadhana. Sankhya means like they chanted the holy name according to a vow. They offered obeisances according to a numerical vow. And by such spiritual discipline, they conquered over sleeping and eating. And they were always meek and humble, fully enchanted by the pastimes of Radha and Krishna. Again, they're not interested in sleeping one moment more than necessary. They don't want to waste any time. They're interested in eating only enough to keep the body and soul together. Prabhupada would say about the Goswamis sleeping, he would say they would rest 2 hours per night. He said, but sometimes they forgot to do that. I forget many things, but I never forget to sleep and eat. But the Goswamis, they would sleeping and eating at very minimum. But sometimes they would forget that because they were so absorbed in writing books about Krishna and Krishna's philosophy. And they were so absorbed in chanting kirtan and like that. And Radha Krishna, Gunasmiter Madhuriman Andena Samohita, and they're completely enchanted. So they were not enchanted by some ordinary boy and girl, right? They had no interest in that stuff. So these are completely transcendental pastimes. Completely transcendental pastime. Shukadeva Goswami, the speaker of Bhagavatam, he's the speaker of the 10th canto of Bhagavatam, all about Krishna's pastimes, including pastimes about the gopis and Radharani and the rasa dance. And it's described about Shukadeva Goswami. Atmaramas Chamuneyo, Nirganti yap yuru krami. Kravante tikim bhaktim itam buddha guno hari. Sukadeva Goswami, he was completely self-satisfied. He wasn't looking for any material enjoyment. He was completely in the bliss of Brahmananda, Brahmagyoti bliss. And he was attracted to the pastimes of Radha and Krishna, which again, just like shows like this is completely spiritual platform, nothing mundane about that. And we want to be careful to not bring our mundane conceptions to those transcendental pastimes. And yes, so I thought maybe we'll take a few minutes and hear something from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is Lord Chaitanya describing the 25 qualities of Radharani. Of course, Srimati Radharani has infinite qualities, but sometimes they're categorized in 25. So this is the Madhya Lila, chapter 23, entitled Life's Ultimate Goal. Life's Ultimate Goal. And this is text 86 reads, text 86, chapter 23. Ananta guna Shri Radhikara Panchisha Pradhan Yehi Gunera Vashahaya Krishna Bhagavan. Lord Chaitanya speaking to Sanatana Goswami. Similarly, Srimati Radharani has unlimited transcendental qualities, of which 25 qualities are principal. Sri Krishna is controlled by these transcendental qualities of Srimati Radharani. Text 87 to 91. Ata vrindavaneshvarya kirtyante pravaraguna madhureyam nabhavayas chalapango jvalasmita charusabhagyare kadya gandhonma ditamatava sangita prasarabhigya ramyavan narma pandita Vinita Karuna Purna Vidagda Pattavandita Lajashila Sumaryada Daya Gambhirya Shalini Suvilasa Mahabhava Paramotkarsha Tarshini Gokula Prema Vasatir Jagat Shreni Lasadyasha Gurvarpita Guru Sneha Kipanaita Vasha Krishna Priyavali Mukhya Santatas Ravakeshava Bahuna Kim Gunastasya Sankhya Tita Hareriva. So the translation. Srimati Radharani's 25 chief. Now this is those verses, those verses are found in the Ujjvala Nilamani, Sri Radha Prakarana, 11 to 15. So Srimati Radharani's 25 chief transcendental qualities are: 1, she is very sweet. 2, she is always freshly youthful. 3, her eyes are restless. 4, she smiles brightly. 5, she has beautiful, auspicious lines. 6, she makes Krishna happy with her bodily aroma. 7, she is very expert in singing. 8, her speech is charming. 9, she is very expert in joking and speaking pleasantly. 10, she is very humble and meek. 11, she is always full of mercy. 12, she is cunning. 13, she is expert in executing her duties. 14, she is shy. 15, she is always respectful. 16, she is always calm. 17, she is always grave. 18, she is expert in enjoying life. 19, she is situated at the topmost level of ecstatic love. 20, she is the reservoir of loving affairs in Gokula. 21, she is the most famous of submissive devotees. 22, she is very affectionate to elderly people. 23, she is very submissive to the love of her friends. 24, she is the chief gopi. 25, she always keeps Krishna under her control. In short, she possesses unlimited transcendental qualities, just as Lord Krishna does. I'll read one more text from this section. Nayaka Nayika Dui Rasera Alambana Se Dui Shreshta Radha Vrajendra Nandana. The basis of all transcendental mellows is the hero and the heroine. And Srimati Radharani and Lord Krishna, the son of Maharaj Nanda, are the best. Hare Krishna. I'll read a few verses from Madhya Lila, chapter 8, talks between the Lord Ramananda Roy, and then we can open for discussion, or questions, comments. This is text 157 of chapter 8. Krishna ke halade tate namaladini se shakti dvare sukha asvade apani. The potency called Ladini gives Krishna transcendental pleasure. Through this pleasure potency, Krishna personally tastes all spiritual pleasure. Sukha rupa Krishna kare sukha asvadana bhaktagane sukha dite ladini karana. Lord Krishna tastes all kinds of transcendental happiness, although he himself is happiness personified. The pleasure relished by his pure devotee is also manifest by his pleasure potency. Ladinira Sara Amsha Tara Premanam Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Premera Akyan. The most essential part of this pleasure potency of love is love of Godhead, Prema. Consequently, the explanation of love of Godhead is also a transcendental mellow, full of pleasure. Premera Paramasara Mahabhava Jani Se Mahabhava Rupa Radha Takarani. The essential part of love of Godhead is called Mahabhava, transcendental ecstasy, and that ecstasy is represented by Srimati Radharani. Tayurapyu Vayormaje Radhika Sarvatadika Mahabhava Swarupeyam Guner Ati Varisha Yasi. This is from Shilupa Goswami's Ujjvala Nilamani 4.3. Among the gopis of Vrindavan, Srimati Radharani and another gopi are considered chief. However, when we compare the gopis, it appears that Srimati Radharani is most important because her real feature expresses the highest ecstasy of love. The ecstasy of love experienced by the other gopis cannot be compared to that of Srimati Radharani. Text 162. Premera Svarupa Deha Prema Vibhavita Krishnera Prayasi Shreshta Jagate Vidita. Translation. The body of Srimati Radharani is the veritable transformation of love of Godhead. She is the dearmost friend of Krishna, and this is known throughout the world. Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitabi Stabirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nivasatya Kilat Mabuto Govinda Mari Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. That's from Brahma Samhita 5.37. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency, Ladini. Their companions are her confidants, who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual ras. Se Mahabhavahaya Chintamani Sara Krishna Vancha Purnakari Ekayatanra. That supreme ecstasy of Srimati Radharani is the essence of spiritual life. Her only business is to fulfill all the desires of Krishna. Mahabhava Chintamani Radharasvarup Lalitadi Sakitanra Kaya Vyuha Rupa. Srimati Radharani is the topmost spiritual gem, and the other gopis, Lalita, Vishaka, and so on, are expansions of her spiritual body. And then there's a section of about 24 verses illuminating the qualities of Srimati Radharani. It goes on. I'll pause here if anyone would like to share anything or ask anything. Ramachandra.
I'm wondering if, like, I heard you saying that our fall down begins, or like we admire when we contemplate imitating Radha Krishna, but at the same time, I wonder if there are any lessons that, like, human beings which are in the material world can really learn from these, like, high grade spiritual relationships, that by applying them they can actually spiritualize their own
Relationships.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm understanding your question, but from what I'm understanding, that all relationships, including our romantic relationships, our business relationships, our family, servant, parental, the idea is, we put Radha Krishna in the center, and then everything becomes auspicious. We put Radha Krishna in the center, and everything becomes auspicious. And whether we do or not, there's always wonderful lessons to be learned. Mm-hmm. I know, when of course, we're focusing on Srimati Radharani today. Like, these are sections of Chaitanya Charitamrita we don't usually read, but today's a special day to read these. And if we go on, it gets particularly esoteric, actually. So we serve Radha Krishna through their pure devotee, or currently to the Parampara Srila Prabhupada. And so when I'm not doing that, then there's wonderful lessons to be learned, because I immediately get feedback based on my experience that I'm off track. I get feedback that I'm off track. And when I'm doing it to some extent for a few moments, then I get feedback from the joy, the peace, the liberation, the relief from anxiety, that I'm on track for my own peace of mind and fulfillment. So I'm not sure if that's the direction of what you're asking.
It's kind of sounded like the answer you gave during the class. That's like material. That's how it sounded to me. That material relationships are like, it's a complete like Maya, and the real relationship, the real rasa is only between Radha and Krishna. And I mean, I wonder if there are things which happen between Radha and Krishna which have like a certain are an amplification of what like material life goes through, or like the dynamics.
We can study, like, for example, the psychology between Radha and Krishna, and get not just helpful, we get perfect insight into, for example, gender psychology. That's a big thing, gender psychology. We can study, because then even in the purport to the first verse of Bhagavatam 1:1:1, Prabhupada quotes Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, who and Prabhupada uses the term pure sex psychology. So we can see that everything happening in the shadow realm has its pure original form, including gender psychology. And that's there in abundance. It's there in abundance. Yeah. Same with parental psychology, mother psychology, father psychology. So we get the addy form of that if we want to study that psychology. We can understand in abundance about the quintessence of female psychology, male psychology, mother psychology, and then the pure form, and then the shadow form when we're turning our back to Krishna, and then we're in the realm of Maya. Hare Krishna. Payal.
I'm wondering if you could share a little bit based on maybe your knowledge or what you've read, when you shared the qualities of Radharani, one of them being that she is humble and meek. And so, wondering about, I'm appreciating the humbleness and wondering about the meekness. Like, is it that she's meek in, like, because she's so devoted to Krishna? And that's where she's meek? Because then I also heard you say in her qualities, I don't know if this is exact, but she's excellent in her crafts.
In fulfilling all of her services,
Yeah.
she's excellent, yeah.
So when I heard that, to me, those two things feel opposite of each other, like meek, yet also excellent. So
She's unique, and she's the supreme controller of creation. She controls Krishna, who's the controller of creation. So it seems contradictory.
yes.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm just wondering if you have insight around that.
Okay, well, I'll try. I think this relates to where Ramachandra's question went. So, we can understand these qualities, these psychology with reference. So clearly meek is not like, she's what we would call passive out of fear, and she needs some seminars in assertiveness or something like that. So I'm seeing meek. So it means like she's not look at me. I mean, she's look at Krishna, or look at my gopi friends. She's meek. Let's say it's completely lacking the qualities of arrogance or obnoxiousness or self-absorption. That's what I see as humble and meek going together. Okay, she's completely devoted. She's full of ecstatic love. She's the most powerful being in creation. Krishna's the most powerful, but she attracts Krishna. So she's Madan, Mohan, Mohini. Okay, so meek. She's not like weak and fearful like that. She's not weak in that way. So I see meek is that she's not wanting to bring attention to herself. She's wanting to bring attention to Krishna. She wanted to bring attention to her gopis friends. They're serving Krishna much better than me. Let me support them to serve Krishna. Okay, and then in that complete humble, meek devotion, she's attractive to Krishna. She's attractive to Krishna. And so that's my understanding of that original spiritual meekness. It's not material mode of fear. Thank you, Payal. Damayanti.
Hare Krishna, thank you for the class. I remember when within the first year of practicing Krishna consciousness, I didn't really have like a full altar, but I had two like altars, one in the back, little tiny. I had like a tiny little porch, and we had a program back there once in the back of our house. And then during the big program, we were like chanting in the back. Anyway, but I basically just had I had two pictures, like Radha and Krishna standing in their traditional like form. And then I have this one, and I still have this same picture. I got a new one of it, of Radha and Krishna swinging on a swing by the tree, and just beautiful. So I had that picture, and prior to this moment of like chanting, I heard this philosophical point that you said earlier, that we are here in this circumstance of having a material body and material conditioning due to wanting to imitate the Lord and experience, like wanting to have what he has, and feeling envy. I remember learning about this concept of feeling envy towards the Lord, and then I was contemplating that concept and looking at this image of Radha and Krishna swinging, and it felt like, yeah, I could connect with envy. They together are in so much bliss and peace and safety and opulence and everything, and I'm lost. And so that experience of realizing that I do feel envious of Radha and Krishna, it has almost I've never, like, it's almost like a withhold, like I haven't left that, I haven't integrated or transformed that experience. And maybe that's really that's me just being realistic, because maybe that's just healthy. But I always think of Srimati Radharani with like this feeling of jealousy. Maybe that's just me being honest. Or maybe part of me thinks, well, maybe I should move on and just like have this open heart towards her and get to know her and be more humble, because I'm not experiencing that. I'm more just feeling like she's beautiful, she's perfect, all those qualities. I don't have those qualities. I don't have that. I don't have that. I don't have that. She has it. She has it. She has it. So I just wanted to like clear that withhold, the blocked energy. But I know I want to have an open heart, and I know I want to worship her, and I am choosing to perform those worshiping types of activities towards Srimati Radharani. And then there's just this like total comparison, experience. So
Thanks.
I thought I would express that.
Thank you, Damayanti. I'm inspired. You're taking the opportunity of Sri Radhastami to clear some withholds with Srimati Radharani. And truly, and yeah, I mean, I appreciate your process, because like we said, we're envy of God, and okay, then envy of Krishna, envy of Srimati Radharani. And then to actually acknowledge what that looks and feels like for me. You're doing that for you. And so, yeah, I see that as a powerful step forward, to acknowledge the anarta, to acknowledge the withhold, to acknowledge the stuckness, to acknowledge the dirt in the heart and what it looks like, not just generally, I have some weeds in the heart, what it looks like. And then that's a step towards clearing and shifting my consciousness towards, okay, let me serve Srimati Radharani. Let me serve Radha Krishna. Otherwise, we can go to, oh yeah, I'm just a servant. I'm a servant, but we got all this envy, and we're not acknowledging it in a concrete form. We're not acknowledging it in a concrete form, and then it runs our life from beneath the conscious surface. It could take forms of sahajya, of in the name of being a devotee, actually trying to take Radharani's place, because we're not acknowledging the envy. I'm remembering, maybe most everyone here is familiar with the pulling the weeds process, pulling the weeds from the garden of the heart. And in our Sappho Foundational Seminar and other places, we give out a handout. We have it in the book, Relationships That Work. The original form of pulling the weeds had some extra paragraphs that aren't there now. And it was some extra paragraphs about applying pulling the weeds specifically in our relationship with God, because that's the original root weed, and all other envy and weeds flow from that. And specifically our weeds with Radharani, Krishna, Radha Krishna. And so we kind of took that out, for, as the years went on. So, yeah, so, your process sounds, it sounds humble, courageous, vulnerable, and very healthy towards truly supporting yourself to progress in devotional consciousness. And progress starts with meeting ourselves where we're at and not deceiving. Thank you, Damayanti.
Thank you. I just want to add that through listening to you, I feel like I have, there's a common conditioning that like women have of comparing themselves to other women, comparing and feeling bad about oneself. And I have that conditioning, and not really, it's actually not like really that strong with other women, but it does come up really strongly with Srimati Radharani, just like, yeah. So I actually don't want to stay stuck the way I feel. I feel like it's been like 6 years, just like neutral or like a little just that mostly like jealous feelings or envy or something. And I do want it to transform. I understand that it's probably really healthy because I'm in a conditioned form of life, and this is the reason I'm, it's honest. I understand, but I actually want it to transform. I want to feel more light. I want to feel more curiosity and more lightheartedness about Srimati Radharani and who she is and everything. So anyway, thank you so much for
Thank
your
you,
encouragement.
Thank you, Damayanti. And I finally remember that program, maybe 2014, maybe in that smallish back room. Thanks for sharing. Paramparadas.
Hare Krishna. I left. I was there. I left. I just wanted to say, I think I was offensive to Ramachandra. He was packing me some prasadam, but I had to leave very quickly because the devotee was already at my house, and I thought he was further away. So I sent him a message, Ramachandra. I sent him a message, but the Prabhupada in this lecture that you read, he quoted something that was Radha Bhava. Could you say that again and maybe give a translation or a rough translation that
Well, okay. It's not something I know from memory, but I know what you're referring to. He quotes the Goswami song. That one I'm a lot more familiar with. But okay, I know what you're referring to. Okay, so let me go there. Oops.
just kind of blown away. Just hearing Radha Bhava, just that name is just to hear that sounds really ecstatic. That was.
Right. Yeah. So you were impacted just by the potency of that Sanskrit. Okay. So.
Rukmini commented, Radha Bhava Duti Subalitam.
Got it. Thank you, Rukmini. She got it. Yes. The Rukmini already got it for you. I was trying to search, but she's on it. And I'll try to find it here in the lecture. Yes. Oh, I got it. Here we go. Radha Bhava Dutis Subalitam, just as Rukmini has said. Okay, so Prabhupada says, this is a very great transcendental science. One who is advanced in Krishna consciousness and well conversant with the Shastras, they can understand. But still, we can discuss from the Shastra. So Prabhupada's saying, to really realize this, you need to be absorbed in the Shastra. But even if we're in our position, we're here and there, still we can hear from the Shastra, and that's good. We get purified. When Krishna wanted to understand himself, he took the tendency of Srimati Radharani, and that is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Radha Bhava Duty Subalitam. Radha Bhava Duty Subalitam. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna, but he has accepted the propensities of Radharani. As Radharani is always in feeling the separation of Krishna, similarly, in the position of Radharani, Lord Chaitanya was feeling separation of Krishna. So Radha Bhava, so that's the mood, the spirit of Radharani. And now, because Prabhupada is just quoting a phrase, it's not clear where this is from. Possibly it's from one of those invocation verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita that describe, that are really the seed verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita that describe the reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. If someone could go on to the database and find what's the source of Radha Bhava Duty Suvalitam. So it seems to be about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mood in appearing as a simultaneous incarnation of Radharani and Krishna.
Nice. Yeah, that kind of hit me in the head when you read that. When you read that, it just kind of stunned me. So yeah, I'll have to research that more. And but yeah, I really was really receiving and appreciating, experiencing bliss here. Hearing Prabhupada and your class to bring Radharani down all through the chain of disciplic succession to Prabhupada, that because Radharani is so esoteric and so hard for me to understand and so far away, and it's also rather small, like to hear like Radharani speaking or like to hear much from her, it's rather hard for me to grasp, to really absorb in like Radharani. But then to come, okay, so Lord Chaitanya is Radharani, that mood, Radha Bhava, and Krishna combined, and then to relate, then to bring that down to the mood of the Goswamis, always searching for Krishna, never finding Krishna. George Harrison did that pop bhajan, I'm missing you, Krishna, where are you? I'm missing you. And I was thinking of that. And then, yeah, so that's Muda Goswami is just always searching, always looking for Krishna, like in the forest, like the gopis, like Radharani, feeling the separation. And then down, to Prabhupada, Prabhupada leaving Vrindavan, when you were speaking about, yeah, like the mood of the gopis is to drop everything. And when they hear Krishna's flute, they drop everything. They leave their husband, they leave food cooking on the stove, that the children, they just drop everything and go. And when they hear Krishna, and that's like Prabhupada had everything, in Vrindavan, and he dropped everything and just went, to the so yeah, I was just really appreciating that, further example, the way to understand, these exalted personalities is through Prabhupada, through the Guru, pure devotee. And so I was really relishing that.
Thank you, Parampara Prabhu. Thanks for sharing your appreciation for Srila Prabhupada, for these words, for the Parampara, for Srimati Radharani. Thanks for sharing your realization and enthusiasm. Hare Krishna.
I'll share one more thing, or maybe a bit of a question, is that and maybe I'm applying some of my mundane, viewpoints of Radha and Krishna. But if we look at the pastime, from the story or the pastime, then Radha and Krishna, they're only together a few years, or young years, teenage years actually together, and then they don't get married, they don't have children, then most of her life she's in separation of Krishna, feeling that separation of Krishna, and then like Krishna marries many wives, 16,108 wives, and like Rukmini is like the best of the wives, his favorite, and even I think in like Prabhupada installed the deities in the Los Angeles temple of like Rukmini, Dwarkadish, Krishna. So that's like a Rukmini deity. So do we understand that Rukmini is like a expansion or incarnation of Radharani?
All right, thanks for your sharing. Yeah, your sharing goes to some historical places, some very esoteric places. Yes. All of the Lakshmis, all of the wives of Krishna, these are expansions of Radharani. Even all of the Shaktis, Kali, Maya, all of those kind of like feminine Shaktis, even within the material realm, if we trace it back, they're also expansions of Radharani. We don't want to get confused about, we don't want to misunderstand it. Chintu Beta Tattva. So like if we see a picture of goddess Kali, in her fierce form, we don't want to say, oh, that's the same as Radharani. There's truth to that. So yeah, so all of the gopis, wives of Krishna, Lakshmis, there are, we kind of that verse, Ananda Chinmaya Rasa Pratibhavitavi Sthavirya Eva Nija Rupataya Kalabi Goloka Eva Nija Nivasatya Kilatma Bhutto Govinda Mari Pusham Tamaham Bhajami. We'll hear that this is a translation from Srila Bhakti Siddhanta, that Brahma Samhita verse. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, who resides in his own realm, Goloka, with Radha, who resembles his own spiritual figure and who embodies the ecstatic potency Ladini. Their companions are her confidants who embody extensions of her bodily form. I'll read that again. Their companions, means the gopis, are her confidants who embody extensions of her bodily form and who are imbued and permeated with ever blissful spiritual ras. And Bhakti Santa gives quite an extensive purport in English to that verse in Brahma Samhita. But so it says right there, the gopis, the Lakshmis, the wives of Krishna and Dvarka, even the material Shakti goddesses, they're all expansions of Srimati Radharani. Yes, and then as far as your historical references, yeah, well then that gets into like, I would encourage you can read chapters like towards the end of Krishna book, Draupadi meets with the gopis and the residents of Vrindavan. When Krishna goes to Kurukshetra, Krishna, Balaram, and Vasudev, they go from Dwarka to Kurukshetra, and the residents of Vrindavan, including Nanda and Yashoda and the gopis and Srimati Radharani, they meet at Kurukshetra. So that's an interesting, of course, transcendentally historical piece. Of course, it's described that in that, the gopis are mostly pining for Krishna in separation, and in that separation, Krishna is there. Krishna never leaves Vrindavan, and he leaves Vrindavan. That's in Achintya Beta Beta Tattva. So there's interesting pastimes where Krishna does meet the residents of Vrindavan, including Radharani and the gopis again in chapters towards the end of Krishna book.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Yeah.
I wanted to respond something to Damayanti. So I appreciate your sharing, and I also can relate to you. Not now, but I used to feel very envious towards Radharani, and for sure it's still there. Otherwise, I wouldn't have this body. I feel envious towards Narayan because I know you wanted to speak also, but I jumped in because you have Malini there and you can speak anytime you want with the devotees. So envy is there for me for sure. But what I want to say is what helped me with the envy towards Radharani is like really picking the qualities for which I can appreciate her rather than like chewing on the qualities that I am envious about. Like, and those qualities like for me are like, okay, Radharani as Lord Chaitanya, like he's so merciful distributing the love of God towards everyone. Or Radharani is like in the same like Mother Mary in the Christian tradition, that like she is the one by whose mercy we can come to Krishna. So I don't feel that envious towards Radharani anymore because she's just like, she's so much more merciful than Krishna. If we were like depending on Krishna's mercy to get out of this material world, we would probably rot here forever. But Radharani is the savior. She's like the origin of this mood of like, let's like save all these fallen souls to go back to Krishna. Like Krishna is like not the one who is like, you know, like caring about it so much. So it helps me personally. And our original mother, Rukmini Devi, Prabhu says. So I wanted to share that. And sorry, Narayan, for jumping in, but I don't really feel sorry. Okay, Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Ladini Shakti. Narayan Prabhu.
It was not Narayan, it was Malini Devidasi.
Oh, Malini, okay.
I don't have much to add. I was just appreciating everybody's comments. And I know this morning when you asked me to change Shayada Madhava, my first absorption was in how when Srila Prabhupada's astrology reading happened after his birth, the astrologer and his grandsons are also, they say he's a devotee of Radharani. And I was thinking of that and how much towards the end of what you read from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, it says that Radharani's only business is to fulfill all Krishna's desires. And Prabhupada's like, I think Damayanti was saying that too, like Prabhupada's only desire, only business too is to fulfill all Krishna's desire. And then thinking of the Goswamis and on the Chaitanya Charitamrita and other places, it's explained how they have eternal relationship with Krishna. And their eternal relationship with Krishna is to be like assisting Srimati Radharani in her pastime with Krishna. And it's interesting that Srimati Radharani, like you said, she's so humble and meek that in fact she thinks everyone else is serving better than she is. Even so, she is excellent in all her craft. She is of course very famous for her cooking. And I think it's Purnamasi that decided when Krishna was born that Krishna will only eat what Srimati Radharani is cooking. So he's not even eating what Yashoda is cooking. But she's so excellent in her cooking that like that's what Krishna is eating. And so there is that seemingly contradiction that she's so excellent in all her art and like so pleasing to Krishna, and at the same time her compassion is limitless, and her compassion also is accompanied with everyone else is serving Krishna so much better than me. And like she wants to bring everyone closer to Krishna. So please go to Krishna, and then Krishna ran after her.
Thank you, Malini. Hare Krishna. I'm seeing, which chapter were you speaking to in Krishna book about Radha and the bees? Radha speaking to the bumblebee. It's the chapter entitled Uddhava Visits Vrindavan. Uddhava visits Vrindavan. And I'm going to say it's chapter 45 in some versions. In some versions, it might be 46 or 44, because there's different editions, but it's Uddhava visits Vrindavan. Srimati Radharani ki. Oh, we have a comment. Yes, yes.
For those who are, who have read Krishna book many times, like I've read Krishna book many times, that part. It's also in Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is all the verses of directly the Bhagavatam about that pastime of Srimati Radharani.
In the Anchi Lila, yes, in the Anchi Lila.
19 maybe, 18 or 19.
Yeah. In some of the ending verses of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's there too, correct?
But Prabhupada, it's almost feels like he wanted to give it to us, and he gave all the verses with the Sanskrit and the translation of all that part.
Special.
Is there time for next question?
I think we're past 9:30, so we'll come to a close and we can talk amongst us. Shri Radhastami ki.
Jai.
Srimati Radharani ki. Shri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki.
Yeah.
Prabhupada ki.
Jai.
Hari Bol.
Oh.
Is there any